Yeah, so we've been doing this exercise of just going through schedules throughout the last 17 months, it feels like. It's actually been more like 2 or 3, actually. So it's not like it's been short, and I'm joking about it. Like, we've been doing this for a while, and we've actually, boys, got a ways to go. Like, we're gonna have to basically do this every day to make it in time for media days.
I have to double this up. I was honestly thinking about that the other day.
Yeah,
especially when we get to the SEC.
Yeah, so I don't know how that's going to work, and we'll probably have some overlap, but we'll chip away at this. And so this is not a prediction. This is not go put your money on this guarantee. This is just, hey, one by one, who are these teams playing? What's their schedules look like? And it's been just an interesting exercise to go through each one of them and kind of see the different lays of the land. So here's Penn State, who returns after a big playoff appearance a year ago, got the big win over SMU there in the opening round. They return a talented backfield in mass, and there's a lot to like about the Nittany Lions. So here's what they are staring at as they prepare for what'll be at least a top 10 preseason ranking, depending on how high you want to go with that. But definitely one of those playoff contenders heading into the next year. And it will all get started on August the 30th with Nevada right there out of the gates at home in Happy Valley. And home is where they will be, as you see, for the entire first month of the season. They will not leave until October gets underway. So Nevada, then Florida International on September the 6th, Villanova on September the 13th, and then Big Ten play starts with a bang, as it'll be Ducks and Nittany Lions there in Happy Valley on September the 27th. So, hey, there's the first month. They don't leave home. They've got one game that I think you even break a sweat about, basically. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm just brutally honest. Like, I don't go out of my way to be like taking dick. It's just like I'm just being honest about it all. All right. So I don't think you're sweating until you get to Oregon. But that will be a massive game when that time arrives.
I think that's one of the reasons that somebody picked Penn State to finally break through this year is they get to this kind of running start. And they have that early bye week before Oregon. Oregon, who doesn't have a bye week, as we went through last week, before Penn State. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, sometimes it's an advantage, sometimes it's a disadvantage, but they will be coming off playing a rivalry game right before it. Again, Civil War. So there are some advantages in the schedule right off the bat for the Nittany Lions. So, yeah, I would say that, this is – now, that their schedule's not easy, but they're a good team that can hit the ground running, and I think that allows them to build some momentum.
Yeah, I think we'll see. They got a pretty thick middle there that could be dangerous, but that first month, you do have that big challenge with Oregon, but having 2 weeks to prepare, as you mentioned.
And you don't leave.
And you don't leave. You don't go anywhere. So, that's a nice little ramp up to your first big game, is having that first bye week there right before.
It's a great meditation sport. It's just yourself. You get out here, feeling the rhythm, feeling the rhyme. It's a good time.
Gives me the opportunity to hang out with the fellas for about 5 hours, and I get some solitude, relaxation, and a great time.
There's nothing I love more in life that doesn't have a heartbeat than golf.
I like the frustration involved with trying to find that right elusive swing. Or I just like to have a couple cocktails with some friends and maybe some cigars.
Golf is therapy to me.
Malban Golf.
The Ducks. So then you get into October, and you will be at UCLA on October the 4th. Then the following week, and that's your first road trip. 5 weeks in, you're going halfway across the country to Los Angeles and Westwood, which is a beautiful area. They'll enjoy it. They'll have a good time. Then it is Northwestern on October the 11th, back at home. So 5 of your first 6 games at home. And this is then where the home games kind of trickle down to just a little drip here and there, as beneficial as it probably was to be at home 4 weeks in a row, and then 5 of the first 6 weeks you're only at home, as you will see 2 of the last second half of your entire schedule, which is definitely interesting about this. So versus Northwestern, and then the road trips really get into full swing at Iowa on October the 18th, and we'll stop there as they get their second bye weekend following that Iowa game. So that second stretch will be UCLA, or no, it'll be Oregon, at UCLA, Northwestern, and then at Iowa. That's their second chunk before they get ready for the home stretch.
If they are truly a national championship team, they will have 1 loss or less after this run. Like that to
You'll
me,
You'll have
they're
to.
going to have
Yeah.
to. But Oregon is always going to be scary. I'm telling you, going to Iowa this year is going to be maybe a different experience.
I think any year really for them, man. I think they're such a tough draw with how unorthodox they are compared to your typical every Saturday matchup, right? But yeah, especially if they've got a better situation, better quarterback play,
I think the difference is Iowa can't play from behind. Like that's what happens. If they have one of those days when they play a Penn State or a Michigan or Ohio State, those are the ones where it's 17-0, like before you can say jackrabbit, and then Iowa cannot play. They can't come back. They weren't built up for it. But now with Gronowski, the quarterback that they got, I think they're going to be able to play from behind, which makes them and not play from behind in a 13-10 game where they need to score, one more touchdown or get 2 field goals in the fourth quarter.
Field goal feels like you're 21 down.
Yeah, exactly. But they can fall behind by 2 touchdowns and then probably come back better than they have in the past, which with a defense like theirs, if all it takes is for them to wake up all of a sudden under Phil Parker, then that makes Iowa a lot scarier, I think, than they've been in the past.
So you'll go to Iowa City, and then you get your second and final break. Gears you up for a 5-game stretch that starts off with a November 1st trip to Columbus. And I will go ahead and make mention here, all games Saturday for Penn State this year, all Saturday games. So go to Columbus. You'll have 2 weeks to prepare for that at least. So your 2 biggest games on the schedule, both come after your bye week. Oregon early and then Ohio State later on.
Ohio State also has a bye leading up to that. So
you'll see how much advantage you actually gain. But that is notable there. So after Ohio State and that road trip, you're back home, take on Kurt Cignetti and the Indiana Hoosiers. Then back on the road, take on Michigan State on November the 15th. Back home the following week as we go back and forth here down the stretch, and they will be playing host to Nebraska on November the 22nd, and then to finish out the regular season on the road against Rutgers on November the 29th. So that final stretch, you've got at Ohio State, Indiana at home, at Michigan State, Nebraska at home, at Rutgers. Those final 5.
Yeah, that's a meaty stretch there.
Yeah.
And again, if they're a national championship team, it'll just prove them out over that time. But
Ohio State will be a national championship competing type of team. Indiana remains to be seen, but they're better than Indiana's been in forever.
Yeah.
Michigan State should only be going upwards at this point. Nebraska better damn well be going upwards at this point. And then, Rutgers can be feisty from time to time. That's the very end. So you're going into that game. We'll see where they are, right? Like we'll see what they need to do or what needs to happen for this certain result. So you're not really worried about the very end just yet. But yeah, leading into that, like there could be a lot of damage or a lot of success.
Yeah. And so the 3 games that stick out to me, obviously, on the schedule are going to be Oregon, Ohio State, and Indiana. And they have to, big game James has to win those.
Mm-hmm.
Like he has to win. And I would say that, and most fans would trade this in a heartbeat. If they lost to Indiana and won all the rest of them, if they beat Ohio State finally and beat Oregon, in the regular season and were actually in total control of their own destiny, I think most every Penn State fan would take that and would make them feel good going into the playoffs, because I'm sure as a Penn State fan, you think like, great, we're here. Oh, we've got a good matchup. Okay, good. We have SMU. And then, they go and play Notre Dame and they lose, and it's the same story. James Franklin is fantastic at beating the teams he's supposed to beat. But when it's a team that they're evenly matched with or better, his record is not good. And so that's what he needs to turn around. And they think they have the team to do it this year, but the schedule for them, while it does present some advantages, still is pretty tough, especially, who knows what you come out of that Ohio State game and then have to play Indiana right after that. If Nebraska takes the normal Matt Rule step, they should be salty as hell.
Yeah, they should be.
If they do, I mean, so
that's
if history repeats itself.
That's the pattern is that by year 3, he's got himself firmly entrenched and they're ready to compete. So you would expect that for Nebraska. But yeah, I mean, there's the wild cards of who's actually going to be as good as we expect and who won't. But on paper, that's Penn State. And you can see where there's some formidable teams on here, but there's also some breaks that are timely leading into your biggest games. You do not play, I won't list off every team, but some of the more notables, they do not play Michigan. They do not play Illinois. They do not play Wisconsin. And they don't play 3/4 of the Pac contingent. They don't play USC. They don't play UCLA. Or no, they do play UCLA, excuse me. They don't play USC. They don't play Washington. So 2/4. I was thinking of Oregon, not Penn State. So they don't play USC or Washington out of the Pac, but they do get Oregon, UCLA. So hopefully that's clear now what I was trying to say. But yeah, those are just some notable teams that might be good that you are going to miss out on. But I do think with this schedule, by the end of it, I don't think Penn State's going to have to be arguing if they're sitting there with one loss too much. If they're sitting there with a couple losses, obviously for any team that gets dicey, but I don't think they're going to have to worry about the Indiana problem of like, this schedule sucks. Y'all don't deserve to be in, even though you're 12-0 or 11-1 or whatever it is. I think there's enough quality on here that you won't have to worry about justifying your schedule. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, they won't. They will not have to. Like, if the committee comes out and says this wasn't a good schedule, it means something tragic has happened to the Big Ten.
Right. And granted, Indiana just got the benefit of the doubt on their schedule, so I don't think Penn State's going to have to worry about that. But just
like,
saying,
if it would be one of those like once in a lifetime, like, man, all these teams are bad.
They would have a case. Yeah, they would have a case that it was just a weird year or something. But no, they've got some good games on here. So there you go. There's Penn State, Drew Aller and company trying to break through and win the Natty. But yeah, going to be easier said than done, like for everybody else out there.
Yeah.